Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Jungian analysis of the manga Berserk. One of the key understandings of Berserk from a symbolic lens comes from the personal and collective interpretation of the endless number of symbols it presents. Symbols are not only in the form of a mark or a character, but rather how Carl Jung defines symbols, which can be understood through a quote from his collective works. By a symbol, I do not mean an allegory or a sign, but an image that describes the best possible way the dimly discerned nature of the spirit. A symbol does not define or explain, it points beyond itself, to a meaning that is darkly divine, yet still beyond our grasp, and cannot be adequately expressed in the familiar words of our language. Within this video, we'll dive into the symbolic and psychological meaning behind Guts and his sword, the Dragon Slayer. Central to Guts' character is his immense weapon, the Dragon Slayer. Though it may seem like just a massive sword at first glance, the sword possesses profound symbolic and psychological significance when viewed through a Jungian lens. Its very name, Dragon Slayer, carries inherent symbolism that resonate deeply with the collective unconscious. In Jungian psychology, the dragon represents the archetype of the shadow. It embodies all the hidden, repressed, and dark aspects of an individual's psyche. In mythological stories, the hero's encounter with the dragon symbolizes the confrontation with the deepest and most challenging aspects of the self. The hero, often an ordinary individual, embarks on a transformative journey to confront and defeat a formidable adversary, which is typically represented as a dragon or a monstrous creature. This battle represents the hero's quest for self-discovery and personal growth. In the case of Guts from Berserk, his life is riddled with adversity and trauma, much like the hero archetype. The Dragon Slayer becomes his tool for confronting not only physical foes, but also his internal demons, and the need to integrate his shadow into his conscious self. Guts throughout the series battles not only demons, but also the trauma of his past and the darkness within himself. The sword serves as a tangible manifestation of his internal struggle. We can thus see the sword as an outward manifestation of the individuation process. Carl Jung introduced the concept of individuation, which refers to the process of becoming one's true, unique self, by integrating all aspects of the psyche, including the shadow. The hero's journey and the act of slaying the dragon are symbolic of the individuation process. This process involves acknowledging and confronting the darker aspects of one's personality, leading to self-realization and personal growth. Guts' relentless pursuit of the apostles and other supernatural creatures mirrors his quest for self-actualization. He wields the Dragon Slayer as a tool to confront the demons in his life, both external and internal. In his battles, Guts wrestles with his inner demons, facing trauma, rage, and despair. The sword, forged for the purpose of slaying dragons, is an extension of his own journey towards individuation. His sword is also a symbolic representation of the self, which is the balance between one's ego and the unconscious. The purpose of the sword throughout the manga is to fight Griffith and to defeat the ultimate evil within the Berserk world. This, within a Jungian lens, can be seen as the exploration or the conversation between the ego, which is represented through the sword as Guts' identity as a mercenary, protector, and the Black Swordsman, and in contrast, the unconscious that is represented through Griffith as a symbol who resides in a dimension that is not of the material world, and comes forth as a response to the Bailiff, which is a union of the material and the psychic world. You see, through interpreting the story in this manner, the sword thus represents a variety of psychological and symbolic factors, from the ego of Guts, the representation of the individuation process, as well as the exploration of the union between the ego and the unconscious. There's also a distinction between the development of Guts and the sword. As he grows older throughout the manga, you see the sword as more fitting of his stature, and it becomes a part of Guts, and is less distinguishable. This is also a representation of wholeness. Throughout Berserk, symbols are a key factor in understanding the psychological ideas it presents. Much like real life, this is a process that is rooted deep inside the human psyche. Take, for example, the notion of a child finding a rock that he or she likes. We all have done this when we were children, at a beach or at a park. This is partially due to the nature of attraction we have to symbolism. The rock we pick up from the beach is perfectly round and stands out, but also represents the potential of wholeness and individuation in a symbolic way. In an extreme example, symbols also carry ideas that can be used to manipulate the shadows of individuals or even nations. Consider this. Say you wear a uniform that resembles a Nazi soldier with a swastika and walk into a Jewish community. This symbolic representation will inevitably evoke chaos. The power of interpreting the material world in a symbolic manner is extremely important, and when we read Berserk, the author has placed every aspect of a character for a particular reason, whether it was done consciously or unconsciously. Symbolic interpretations in this sense can bring meaning into one's life, or even shape the reality and perception of a nation. In this regard, from dreams to the collective unconscious, symbols serve as a way to explore the psyche. Hope you all enjoyed this video, and as always, take care everyone.